Hello and welcome. I just thought I'd share this list. I've been. It occurred to me maybe I'll just make a list of things that occurred around 66 million years because I keep running into it, and I was like, well, maybe if I make a good enough of a list, geologists won't just like negatively respond. I still haven't gotten any upvote or downvote, so that's good. Because if they basically what I anticipate, what I fully anticipate is people to look at this and be like, thread for events around 66 million, and then to be like, okay, Chicxulub. Besides Chicxulub, what about besides Chicxulub? You've come across data across the date of 66 million and other studies of the Earth as being relevant to some aspect of it. Okay. I was hoping people would be so kind as to offer any additional geological features with similar. Oh, so now you want for something from me? I don't even. What the fuck is this, dude? Why is this post existing? Okay, a working list of what? I see. I see. Let's see what's going on down. Oh. I see. Click. Start going through as much as possible to really determine why they should be angry about this post and then respond. Downvote, downvote, blah, 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 blah. And not actually look at the post itself. Almost assuredly that's going to happen. Almost assuredly. Sad reality. Just pointing out facts to you guys. We'll see. We'll come back to this once time has passed. But here's the post I thought I'd share. The data because it's actually really interesting. I found some new things because I was looking. It's like, well, I don't want to just post like Wikipedia links, so I found, of course, Nader Crater. I had that paper. There's really just one paper on it, as far as I know. So I just referenced that paper. 66. I mean, show there. Even say a candidate Cretaceous Paleogene impact structure, and then this one, this is the title, another end Cretaceous impact dated. So I'm just giving technical dates, nothing offensive, unless belief systems are just being like, what's the word? Like defense mechanisms are turning on. Wee warning, warning, danger, not other than does not see same world same way as self. Danger, be careful. Okay. Put up Shiva crater. Oh, I see. They're gonna bring up the Shiva crater. It's not even a crater. It's not proven. So, it's not even though it's not really about that. It's about the dating of it. Is like it's still whatever we want to call it. It's even called structure. Maybe I should have called it structure, but the reality is it is the same. It's a crater as much as the others are. None of which are actually craters, which part of why maybe it's confusing with Shiva craters. Some variance in it due to aspects of it that make it a little less like the others, but still the same process. But then the Deccan traps. Again, I'm just referencing technical papers. Technical paper. 2006. Let's just download it again. Just so I can open it. Just to open it. Doesn't have. I thought it would have. Here. Special Publications Museum, Texas Tech University. So it's not quite as peer reviewed, maybe. I don't know if this is peer reviewed, so someone might like respond to it like, not peer reviewed, not peer reviewed. Wrong. Fucking get the whip out. Wrong. Downvote. Start warning everyone. Warnings in the comments. This person does not deserve to be considered. Be careful. He thinks the earth expanded. Also blah 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 blah. Just fucking. But then Mount Grenard dates. It's what it says. It's just what it says. This is a paper I've cited several times. I'm not going to download it again. Then Bighorn Basin. So this one was interesting. Let's open this one. Paper. Legitimate, in scientists' eyes, legitimate, peer-reviewed paper reference. And I'm not like being offensive to cite this unless people are mad that they don't know what I'm talking about. And like, how dare you suggest that I don't know what you're talking about by referencing these things simultaneously? What does it matter? It's a coincidence. Time erosion coincidence. Understand that they by seeing it as like a million years, but between 66 and 65, that means a million years passed in that perception, when that's not the case. It's not the case. The Earth was rapidly expanding in basically a supernova of a planet that we live through as a species. And tell the tales of the times before, during, after. That's our history. It's not 65 million years. That's just how the supernova of the Earth made it appear as if it was that long ago. But really, it's not the case. So, like, 66 versus 65 is not a million years difference. It's very much proximal in time to one another, but like different enough that it does add nuance to have the difference in date that is there. It's just not actually true. The relative difference is true, which is why it's a very useful thing to be monitoring, but it's not actually that amount of time that passed. So when it's like 65 versus 66, here this one says 65, but I think it's generally the same time, and they're specifically saying that like most of the uplift was then, suggestive that there was again a tie to that date with the Bighorn Mountains and region. Okay, then this one, I found this one interesting. I was just looking through my notebook. Like, I must have just like anything that I've come across that had 66 million, 65. I must have been like, number, put it down, wrote it down, and I came across this one, which I had not actually looked into here. Basically, the gap between Greenland and North America opens up, spreading starts, but this phase really commences at 66 million and leads into the spreading soon thereafter. So it certainly is associated as well, and then major volcanics in this time frame until around 55 million, which also relates to the Trans-Sahara Seaway, which the last phases were through 56 million, which occurred at 266 million. Somewhere in here. This one, honestly, I don't understand that well. I just put the dates because it is validly something that's pointed to. And this is a thing that happened generally in this time frame, where only in that time frame it seems like. So it's certainly relevant to that time frame. And then the paleomagnetic inclination of Wrangellia indicates motion until 65 million, so it ends at that date. So it's again, it's kind of like ties in. Like there, it's almost like it was pushing, met resistance and ballooned, and that's when the expansion really like kicked off. The rapid expansion was after that. That just filled in the ocean floor, and because essentially all that existed at this time, up to 65 million, was mostly the blue and starting to build in the green section. But 65 million is right at the point where things start to really rapidly fill in the ocean, where the mean, as I put here, the mean age of the oceanic crust is 64.2 million. Then I found this paper, which was really interesting. Orogenic gold and evolution of the Cordilleran origin. Cordilleran? An onset of dextral slip at 66 million. If I which are associated, here we go. Uh, Unlike the other Cordillera gold districts, the Willow Creek gold deposits are hosted dominantly within the borders of the continental margin batholith itself and not within the rocks of the accreted terrains adjacent to the arc. The veins formed in it's an arc in the already solidified batholith as the young intrusions were being uplifted during latest Cretaceous to earliest Paleocene, which is 66 million. The intrusions are estimated to have been in place no more than 5 million years before they were hydrofractured by the gold-bearing ore fluids. So basically, in that time frame, the fluid event is likely co-eval with the onset of significant dextral strike slip motion on splays of the Border Ranges fault system. The deposits themselves formed approximately 80 million years after terrain accretion. I'm not sure. I wish they would just put a date in that regard. That's a little confusing. But northwesterly subduction of younger oceanic crust and overlying sedimentary rocks is likely to have been ongoing during ore formation, and in fact these underplated rocks are a potential fluid and metal source. If the well-recognized southern Alaska slab window reached as far inland as the Willow Creek district, it would have done so at circa 62 million and would have been unlikely to trigger an unlikely trigger for the 66. Oh, okay. I read all of that just to realize that there's a gold event at the 66 million mark that may not be associated with whatever they're just talking about. Pardon me. Oh Lord. So there is something of a gold event at the 66 million mark. I just don't know specifically what they're talking about. But just that there's like a injection of gold when the Earth is supernovaing exactly at that time in this location, which is let's see, portal. Let's go through the portal down below. Essentially, coming from this region at 66 million, I believe. I think there's actually something associated with maybe the Solomon Islands. Something that made me realize that like over here was kind of like here was more. This is opening at 100 to 85 ish, and New Zealand has moved over by 85. So the current that was flowing through Solomon Islands down through here ends up moving over across time. I think at 66 million, it kind of like reaches this straight angle where it doesn't really move further. And then just kind of begins to really rapidly go through whatever like supernova equivalent that it's going through on this particle that's formed by the currents just compressing in on it, that literally formed a sphere like system, it seems. Possibly, I don't think this is Hawaii. I just don't think Hawaii was there. I think Hawaii got moved away before that, and this is some like equivalent but opposite thing happening. But so it puts a beam that moves from over here relatively to North America with that physical location here, pretty much this node over here radiating up this way before this ocean floor is filled in, and the beam going up this way and just transporting material, but then it like shoots into a region. Let's see where that paper is exactly focused. This is in this was in Willow Creek District. Alaska. There we go. It's around here. Deposits of the Willow Creek District are localized along the seaward margin of the batholith. So there's a physical particle, like an atom, but that's so large that we call it a batholith, that this beam, I guess, is moving and lodging into Alaska. So maybe this particle is like remnants. I don't know exactly anything about. I don't know anything about this batholith to like draw more precision from what I'm saying, but just from how I view things, is essentially this current then went up here and physically just kept going and just shoving specifically into Alaska. It looks like generally around here. Here's the boundary. Right above there. So above this thing. So in this region, just pushing against a resistance of a batholith. That just kind of sliding in the overall process, but like to a new stable equilibrium point where it just sits there, then rests, and everything stabilizes. But in the meantime, the current is just bringing highly concentrated beams of products of this process that include gold in depository fashion, where it's depositing gold like that. Mainly hosted by latest Cretaceous. I wonder if there's even some sequence in the region of the order of deposition, like gold at around the exactly the 66 million mark, 65. exactly the KT boundary gold, because that's like the supernova moment practically of this like mini system that's supernovaed in the Pacific. From currents that probably just basically are compacting so much that the denser materials get pushed to the center and just differentiated out so that the subtler materials are not present as much, and so it has more dense materials. Literally a star. There's so much to be gleaned. Okay, let's go to the next one. So, that was this gold one. Marine flooding in southern Wyoming. So I found this interesting. 65 to 63. And then it said end 58.5, like it had two waves maybe. But specifically right after the heat, it starts to cool off. And what does that do? Condensation. So like after the nova, it's the cooling off phase commences, and so things that were pushed out can rush back in, and basically it begins to bring water, allow water in, and really maybe even just like cause large scale flooding and rain, and on top of just that like water that would have wanted to like flow over top the region, it was just boiling away. So as it cooled, it stopped boiling away, so it actually was able to flow across the region, and basically because it's trying to get to the newly forming ocean beds, and circumstances of the heat are just not allowing like a final equilibrium of like where then the process ended and the earth expansion has largely cooled. So now when we look at the process of how the earth functions, it's based on a new equilibrium, which is why all these millions of years are able to appear to have passed even though they didn't. Then this one regarding Panama, this is just a direct quote. With respect to the initiation of subduction zone magmatism, initiation 66 million years, it is interesting to note that the accretion of seamounts from the Galapagos hotspot track commenced at 66 million. Why did that link take me to not that paper? I guess oh, that's why. There's the actual title. Okay. Title is here. That's why it's not actually the title. People also, like, that's the thing. People could casually pick up on that. Be like, that's not even the title. It's not the right paper. Not, like, literally. That's what I deal with. In the forming of the Caribbeans, relative motion between North America and South America, with at least a component of divergence, relative motion between North America and South America with at least a component of divergence continued until approximately 66 million years. So the Caribbeans were like basically opening until this date for some reason. It seems like maybe correlated, like the energy opening that way ended up ballooning out into the Pacific after it kind of like filled the pressure into that region of the like Central America and the Caribbeans. This one, Aeolian dust was deposited on the mid-Pacific mountains up until 66 million years. I just talked about the mid-Pacific mountains until 66 million years. which are too many tabs. I need to go through my tabs and close them. Sorry. Which are these things? The dragon that I keep talking about. So anytime you see me mention dragon, I'm talking about this probably. Those were deposited with wind-blown dust particles up until 66 million. And then they got pushed out here and covered with water, where they were not covered with water until 66 million. They were out exposed to air. This one I just noted. The main island of New Caledonia was submerged between 75 and 60 million. So something was going on with that one, New Caledonia, which is this island here in that time frame. Let's see Solomon Islands. I think there is a relationship. I'll just go into YouTube. I have it. I don't want to specify a date. I just want to like look around and see if I can find some dates. So in that time frame, there's certainly stuff going on in this region of like change. Things of change is occurring. It's not just kind of hanging out. There's a lot of times things are just hanging out or didn't exist. They form and then they just kind of hang out. But like in this time, there's a lot of stuff going on. So let's see if now that I found this paper, if I can just type this number. This number, I try both of them. Okay, Cretaceous. A lot of times, I would prefer they just speak in numbers for the dates like that. It's kind of confusing with terms like this, honestly, but this paper, let's see. Here we go. Here's some dates. Here we go. Make this a little smaller. Is there anything else? Okay. So we got dates that align with so the Ontong Java Plateau basement, which I should probably note, aligns with Rangelia related stuff, with Baja BC stuff. I'll just write some numbers, okay. Ontong Java Plateau basement sequence with some stuff, got no arc development. Ontong Java Plateau like basalt and interpreted. More basement, similar stuff. Post basement, other stuff, now eroded. Suggests an age range greater than 90 and at the earliest 30. I don't know what C means exactly, but like if it is intended to mean that the process is going on throughout, or Because it says an age range between. Like, it's not clear. So here, stage 1 arc sequence. Here we go. Now we're starting to form an arc in the Solomon Islands related stuff. At 62, so pretty much in that time frame. It's a little later, which is curious. It just means it's towards the, like, after it happened, then the arc started to form. So, like, up until then, the arc wasn't forming whatsoever, really. Maybe, like, it was still conjoined. This segment was still conjoined over here until 66 million, and then it rapidly moved over here relative to Australia. And as it opened and formed an arc afterwards, although that does not, maybe that makes sense. It's possible that, like, down here was opening and this was still kind of hanging out there. I mean, this was opening until 85 million, so this must have been here feeding into it until 85 million, so it couldn't have moved until after. But maybe it made enough space that the date for this is 85 million, but, like, it stayed there until later, then it moved. Just based on this, I don't really know exactly what they're referring to, admittedly. Stage 1 arc sequence. I don't want to get stuck on something I haven't actually looked into. I just thought that there was some relationship between Solomon Islands and that and 66 million. It's looking like there's direction from it. I just don't know what to make of it right now. Okay, so that's the totality of this list. Maybe before I end this video, let's go ahead and see what's up. I got a plus. Surprising. It went down. It went down. We'll see how it ends.